Now, earlier you mentioned, just the kind of party aspect or substance use of psychedelics versus the actual, shamanistic traditions with psychedelics and the differences there. Maybe you could go over what some of the shamanic traditions include and what that's all about.
Right. I appreciate that question. It's kind of my life's work to try to do that. I look at the shamanic tradition as existing in a separate paradigm, and I call that a non material paradigm. And I say separate from the paradigm that we as Americans and most Western cultures live in, which is a very material paradigm. And I don't mean materialistic because we like to buy stuff, although that's certainly not untrue. But I mean that our understanding of what we think of as real, for us, we grew up in a reality that it's real because it has substance, it's solid. We want to talk about chemistry and biology and particles and molecules and things of that nature. And shamans don't do that. They look at the non-material aspects of it. So they focus on spirit, on the energy, and there's a crossover there. There's a little bit of crossover because of that word energy, and also because of the word relationship. But mostly we would think about our health issues from a molecular germ, chemical perspective, and they would look at it from a very, very different perspective. And so that's a key part of the ideology of a shamanic tradition, is that it first and foremost says we are a spirit that has a body, whereas typically if we are going to acknowledge spirit in our culture, we would say we are a body that has a spirit, like kind of a very different, we have spiritual experiences, as humans, and the other, you could say, is a spirit having a human experience. And that to me is an important distinction, because then the work becomes communication and relationships. And so a shaman ultimately is a person who has developed relationships with spirits and can communicate with them. And through the quality of those relationships, they have essentially friends in high places that come to their aid, come to guide them, come to provide insight so that they can find the answers that they seek, which may be which plant to use to treat a particular person's illness, to make a plant remedy from that, how to make that plant remedy, how to administer it. All of that information is often guided by the relationships that they have with spirits. And those spirits are often the spirits of plants, but can be spirits of ancestors or spirits of elements of nature or spirits of extraterrestrials. Every curandero I've ever talked to always has relationships with extraterrestrials. So then you look at, contrasting that to modern medicine, and you're dealing much more with like symptom management, which doesn't really get to the root causes of things, because the root causes of things may very well be from the non-material. And trauma, for example, isn't a material problem. It's a non-material problem, but it begins to express itself into the material, the same way that we understand that energy, when its frequency gets low enough, can turn into solid matter. And that, I guess, is maybe another way to try to cross those bridges, is looking at frequency and understanding energy. And quantum science is kind of enabling us to bridge the gap so that we have a better understanding of that.
You mentioned one of the most fascinating aspects for me, and that's spirit contact or even extraterrestrial contact. I just this past weekend went to see Graham Hancock give a presentation about psychedelics, and he did a whole presentation on this very topic. And this is so interesting to me. There are some that say, you're just talking to an aspect of your subconscious, or, it's impossible that you're not talking to other intelligences. But I truly believe that you are. I think you can tune into different frequencies. and kind of reach out to different entities that are just beyond the spectrum of our vision, may even be around us at all times. We just can't see them. But I believe that we're definitely making contact with something during these experiences.